I came to America in 1999 after living, I was born and raised in Yugoslavia. It used to be one country that had 8 different independent states, similar to the United States of America. And in the 90s, it started with this disintegration and divide between independent states in one country versus the global, at the time it was global Europe. And it was the notion that we don't need borders, we don't need countries, we just need to have one big Europe. You know, European Union was being formed, and European Monetary Union was formed. Central bank was moved from individuals, countries like France, Italy, Germany, to Brussels, and Euro was being introduced as I was growing up. I was 18 years old, and I graduated from University of Belgrade, which was the only university, and it was a world-renowned university, and I studied economics, and I got my graduate degree, and I published a book. Obtained my highest degree in economics before I met my husband, and before 1999, when NATO decided to finally, hit the last nail on that coffin and destroy Yugoslavia as I knew it, as I was born in it. Each state became a separate country with loose borders and pretty much open to anybody who wanted to come in and go. And right now there is a bunch of thousands of Syrian refugees and other people from predominantly Muslim controlled countries who are walking anywhere, doing whatever. So it's an open society, it's an open country, it's an open border situation. And I grew up there. And I grew up during the highest hyperinflation that has been recorded in the Guinness Book of Record, over 1 billion percent per second. Imagine the inflation, over 1 billion percent per second. So that means when you go to a restaurant, you first pay before you order. Because by the time you get the bill, it would be 1 billion percent higher. It's hard to imagine. The value of that currency, dinar, was gone. So I grew up in that place. I grew up in socialism. And if I am to ask to describe this, it is what you are experiencing. This is just the beginning stage of what can become of America, which is open borders. The value of your dollar would be pretty much nothing. And who controls the money is the same person who controls the political and judicial system and enforcement system. It's one big gang. And that gang tells you what to say and what not to say. And if they don't like what they hear, they will snitch you over the night and send you to deserted island, and no one will ever hear from you again. And that's what I grew up in for 28 years before I came to America. And I came with my husband thinking that this is going to be a wonderful free country where finally you can say whatever you want, you can express yourself however you want, and you can be free to raise your children, to worship and believe and have a gun for self-defense without having anyone knock on your door or peep through the window to see what you're doing. Well, this is changing, isn't it? But, unfortunately for me, I lived through this, and I can see it happening here. And unfortunately for many of you, you're just being shocked day after day after what comes out of NBC and CNN as a new idea how to create this society in this new socialist system. What AOC is talking about is what I've lived through. The nonsense she proposes was something that I had to live through. So it's not a joke, and it's a serious business. So for 23 years, I lived on Maryland Eastern Shores, and I am raising 3 boys. My oldest joined the Army, and he is currently right now in Pennsylvania on his military duty. And my 17-year-old just took his SAT and is trying to study and become aeronautical engineer, and my youngest is 12. So this summer, I was quietly doing my work. I am litigating attorney in Maryland, and I'm also licensed financial advisor for over 25 years. I worked for Merrill Lynch in Baltimore for many, many years before Bank of America took it over in 2008. And because of my education, I received a phone call from the United States Naval Academy asking me to teach graduating students law and economics, which is a course, upper level course, and financial markets and institutions, which is also an upper level course, which is what I've been teaching for the last 6 years. So I teach, I work, and I raise children, and I was very quiet, and no one knew about me, and I never did anything other than that because I didn't have time to do anything more. And so June comes around, and I receive a letter from the superintendent of Queen Anne's County Public Schools that says that Black Lives Matter, and there's no discussion about whether this is the right organization. We all need to join her, the superintendent, in a march against the police, and we all have to burn the flag and tear down the monuments or something to that effect. It was a 2-page letter. Subject line was COVID-19. So a bunch of people didn't read it. But being a lawyer, I just happened to read it. And I read it, and I literally almost passed out. I said, I couldn't breathe. I said to my husband, Mark, what on earth is this? They're calling Stefan, he was 11 at the time, in June, he just turned 12. He's supposed to riot against the police, but isn't the police our neighbors and friends? And Sheriff Hoffman is one of the best sheriffs in town. Why would we want to burn the flag? Are these people crazy? So the first thing I did was I dialed the number of the Board of Education to the president of the Board of Education. I said, you got to stop this. Who is this woman? What is she doing? Why is this happening? And dead silence. And she's supposed to be a Republican. Then I called my District 4. I had no idea I was in District 4. I called that person who sits on the board, and I said, listen, you need to stop this. This is terrible. This is how you destroy the country. You want to burn the flag? Who promotes this? How is this person doing this? And he said, everybody has the free speech right, and you can't say anything. Let her do it. I said, whoa, but the law. And I looked up the law, and Maryland local government article, section 301, says that while you're holding a public office, you cannot be promoting your personal politics, especially in public schools, and using the microphone to push your political agenda. No politics in schools. So I told him that, and that person says, well, you know what, I'm not a lawyer, and we have a lawyer, and our lawyer said that superintendent can do whatever she wants. So then I said, well, okay, well, I am going to then send a letter with another attorney, there's a friend of mine, so that we can promote patriotism. Let's talk about the Constitution. If she's going to do about Black Lives Matter, let's talk about the Constitution. Kids don't know anything about the Constitution, and I'm teaching a Constitution, and so why don't we talk about the Constitution? And within 3 weeks, we got a letter. Your request to teach about the Constitution is denied. So I said, oh my God, I don't believe this. They are banning the discussion and education about Constitution, but they're forcing people to learn about something that makes no sense. This is a political platform that's shoved down our children's throats. So I said to my husband, you gotta run for the Board of Education. It's June, and the elections are in November, and you gotta run. And he said, against who? I said, we want to remove whoever this person is. He's a Republican, we're gonna get rid of him. And he said, it doesn't work that way, Gordana. It doesn't, you gotta get on a ballot. I said, well, get on a ballot. And he said, but you just don't get on a ballot. It's probably too late. I said, well, how do you know? Well, call. Who do I call? I don't know. Call Maryland elections. Like, do something. So he said, okay, well, but look, I'm the only, okay, even if I do what you're telling me that I should do, which I agree with you, what about the other District 3? That's up for re-election too. I said, well, let's go find somebody else. And he said, well, who are you gonna find? I said, I don't know, but I know a woman who was running for the board of, for the commissioner's position, and she came so close, and she was a Republican, but they kicked her up the curb, and she's a Marine. Maybe she's gonna do it. And he said, have you talked to her? I said, no. And he says, well, do you know her? I said, no. But I know she has a pet shop. So he said, all right, well, talk to her first, because, I mean, I can run all by myself, but it doesn't work. I said, well, if we get you, if we get her, and then we got another guy, that's 3 of us, and then we have a majority of 5, and then we can do whatever we want, right? And he said, right, but it doesn't work that way. I said, listen, it's got to work. It's got to work, because if this woman is doing this to our kids, to Stephen, he's 11, she's doing to everybody else, and she's burning the flag, and I am going to not allow this to happen. So this is what it took for one person to get so upset. So I formed online, went on Facebook, and I created Kent Island Patriots. So why can't we be patriots? Why can't we be patriotic Americans? Let's promote patriotism. And of course, Maryland Education article does have patriotic occurrences in public schools as a requirement. It's not I made this up. It is Maryland legislature enacted Maryland Education article decades ago, but nobody's honoring it. Nobody cares about the law that is on the books. So I said, okay, so we got the law, and I'm going to talk to this woman, this Helen lady. So I walked on her, paid her pet shop, and I said, listen, are you a Marine? And she said, I was, and then I was a fireman, I was a firefighter. I said, okay, so this is what's going to happen. I am going to call Maryland elections, and you are going to be running for the Board of Education. And that's what we got to do. And she said, what? And I said, I'm putting your name, I just wanted to let you know. And she said, I said, you came so close. This is what they're doing. They're trying to destroy our children. They're calling people to burn American flag. If you're telling me you're not going to run and you're a Marine, you're nothing. And she said, well, who else is running? And I said, my husband is a retired Green Beret. So between the Marine and the Green Beret, we can take over the county, and we can do this. And so she said, okay, is there a person, is there somebody, the third? I said, the third guy, he's already on the ballot, and he's a good guy, but he was a sole loner there, Dick Smith, and he'll be a good player, but we need to win. So I posted Kent Island Patriots on Facebook, and all of a sudden, within 2 weeks, 3,000 people, 2,800 people quickly jumped on that website, and we became a sensation in our county. And then the war began. All of a sudden, I started receiving death threats, complaints to my employer that I need to be fired from the Naval Academy because I am a racist and white supremacist. And I received over 30 complaints to Maryland Bar Association, Attorney Grievance Commission, to get me disbarred because I am promoting racism, I am white supremacist, and I need to be fired. The same group of BLM started targeting me at the Facebook, and they took down quickly my law office Facebook site, my personal pictures that I had nothing other than pictures of my kids. I am deactivated and permanently banned from any social media, including Instagram. Anything that's Mark Zuckerberg controlled, I was taken down really quickly. But it didn't matter because I already had 3,000 patriots that were door knocking, they were calling, they were printing flyers, and we ended up winning the election